Can a regular club player turn their serve into an ATP-style serve with lots of racket head speed and power? Achieving this very specific position on the serve is almost like cheating since you get so much racket head speed. Right here you see Ben Stebbings' serve before he received any personalized video feedback from the OTI coaching team. His serve was decent, but he lacked power, and it definitely was not a weapon at this stage. Here you see Ben's serve now after he received multiple video reviews from the OTI coaching team. Throughout this video we will show you one of the main power generators that Ben activated that allowed him to hit his serve with crazy amounts of power and racket head speed. But first, let's watch the first initial analysis that Ben received by OTI instructor James Ledlow.
Hey Ben, it's James here from the OTI coaching team. I hope you're doing well. Today I'm excited to be taking a look at your serve video. And the whole objective here, Ben, with the video analysis, we want to pinpoint and identify the most important issue that we see on your serve, which is going to ultimately lead to your ball flying better when we fix those problems. So with that in mind, what we'll do is watch it once through, and then we can slow it down from there and take a closer look. Just see it here. It's playing in slow motion, but that's okay. We'll just watch it through. All right. And let's bring this back here, Ben, and let's take a closer look at this. And overall, there's a lot of things doing very well on the serve. The first thing, your service grip, it all starts with the grip. There's no changes to be made there. You have a very good grip, which is fantastic. You're turning your upper body away from the target, which is really nice. Get into a good half serve position here where the tip of the racket points to the right side. Palm and strings point down. All looks great. You got pretty good depth in your racket drop, so that essentially tells us you got good mobility in your shoulder, which is great. And then you're going up to contact with the edge of your racket. I mean, there's a lot of things doing here, Ben, which is fantastic. Now, the question is, what are you currently missing out on in terms of ball flight? Right now, Ben, you would definitely, from what I can see here with the mechanics, you're definitely going to be lacking potential power on your serve, especially for a guy like yourself. You're very athletic, and you can definitely maximize more power on your serve. So the question is, why? Why are you missing out on power right now? If we bring it to this position here, Ben, what you're going to see is in the depth of your racket drop, the lowest point, your racket is aligned on the left side of your body. And your elbow, look at your elbow position. See how your elbow it's not even going directly up, it's coming to the left, as you can see here. And as a result, the racket's over to the left side of the body. And in this position, you're not in an optimized racket drop. And the reason for this is the best players in the world at this point, the elbow will lead out to the right more, okay? The hand will be there, approximately, but this is the key difference. The racket will be aligned on the right side of the body. So the racket will come down and away. And when they get to this position here, Ben, they now pre-stretch the appropriate muscles in the front part of the chest and shoulder. And when you pre-stretch these muscles, it results in that real crazy amount of racket head speed up to contact when it's released. Okay, but right now you're missing out on that because you're not sufficiently pre-stretching those muscles because of the alignment in your racket drop position currently. So the question we've got to ask now, we've identified that the alignment is off. So now what we've got to ask is, why is this happening? And to find that out, we've got to trace your motion back, Ben, and we'll see where the problem lies. And what you're going to see, Ben, it's all to do with the way the racket moves over your head. Right now, you're not getting what we call a true right to left arm action. What's happening instead is you start off in a great position here, but now as you start to move the racket, watch where the racket goes now. The racket now, instead of falling down and away to the left, the racket drops in very steeply behind your head. And if we bring it to this frame, the tip of your racket is now pointing towards the net, and also your palm and strings as a result have opened up. And two things. Now, when the racket comes in at this steep angle, it's very difficult for the racket to come down and away over to the right side. So it makes it difficult to get to that optimized racket drop. But the other thing is when you do open up the palm and strings like this can also really restrict your shoulder movement, which makes it very challenging, again, to get into that racket drop position. So what we've got to work on here, Ben, is a better right to left arm action. So we got to bend the elbow at this point, getting the hand moving over the bicep, racket moving more right to left. And the better right to left action you can achieve, the racket can then come down and away into a better racket drop position. But to give you a better understanding, let me show you my serve. Okay, if you look at my serve now on the right, Ben, we're going to just quickly compare it. So we're in very similar positions here, the half serve position. This all looks very similar. But now watch my right to left action. Okay, I'm going to bend the elbow and the racket is going to move right to left. And see the tip of the racket where it's pointing. It's pointing to the left side fence. That's why we call it the right to left. It goes from the right side fence to the left side in this circular manner over the head. But the other thing, look at the palm and strings. See how they remain closed? There's no opening there. And now as a result, the elbow can lead and the racket comes down and away into that racket drop. If we look at yours now, you'll see the difference. You come here, but now look at the opening. The palm opens and the racket drops in steeply behind the head. There. Okay. So this is the main key. We've got to work on that right to left. So then after you work on this for a few weeks, your racket drop is going to definitely improve with the alignment. And as a result, you're going to start to get a lot more effortless power on this serve. So if you have any questions on this, Ben, please let me know. And I look forward to seeing the updated progress over the coming weeks.
So as you can see, optimizing the racket drop alignment was a major part of Ben's transformation. But why is this position and alignment so important? When players effectively get into a good racket drop position where the racket is aligned to the right side of the body for a right-handed player, they now effectively pre-stretch the appropriate muscle groups in the front part of the shoulder and chest. And when you pre-stretch these muscles, you store what we call elastic energy. Now, when that elastic energy is then released up to contact, that's when you get the massive amount of racket head speed. And that is why the top professional players can consistently hit this serve with so much effortless power, and it all leads back to this effective racket drop position. So after the first initial analysis, Ben then worked on his serve diligently, going through the very specific OTI progressions that were given to him in the video reviews. Now let's take a look at his most recent serve analysis to see Ben's improvements.
Hey Ben, it's James. I'm excited to take a look at the updated video here of the serve. It is filmed a little bit of an off angle, but it still gives us a very good visual idea here to the improvements you've been making on your serve. I know for this progression you wanted to isolate it a little bit, starting from the half serve position, so you could get that right to left action. And yeah, you're going to see how by getting that better right to left, you've now really improved the alignment in your racket drop position. Okay, so let's just watch it through here real quick. It's in slow motion again, that's okay. All right, and let's bring this back and let's take a closer look. And yeah, the big difference you're going to see now, Ben, is all related to this right to left. The racket is now truly moving from the right side where it's pointing to the right side fence. Now it's moving over to the left. So see the tip of the racket, it'll be pointing now to the left side fence here. And you can see also in the first analysis we did for you, your racket was dropping in very steeply behind your head at this point. Now instead the racket is falling down and away, and your elbow is coming around in this direction. It's moving forward and upward. And now look at the way the racket moves. The racket comes down and away. And look at that position right here, Ben. Here you're in the racket drop position where the racket's aligned over to the right side of the body. So now you're pre-stretching the appropriate muscles in the front part of the shoulder and chest. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to compare this with the before video, the first video you sent in, so we can really see the differences you've made here in this racket drop position. Okay, so on the left here, Ben, we have the before footage, and if we look at this here now, the difference, watch the way your racket moves here on the left. Okay, it starts off well, but now look at this point here. The racket opens up first off, so your palm and strings are opening, and the racket also is coming in very steeply behind your head, as you can see. See, the tip of the racket is pointing to the net. Now watch the difference here on this one, on the right side. The racket moves right to left. First difference is your racket face is remaining more closed. So the palm and strings are more closed. Now watch where the racket moves. Moves to the left side. So tip of the racket is pointing to the left side fence, whereas on the left side here, you can see it's pointing more to the net. And also the racket face is open. And now look at the difference in the alignment in your racket drop. Here, your elbow can't really lead out in front and the racket's aligned on the left side of the body. Whereas on the right, your elbow is leading, racket's aligned on the right side of the body. Okay, and you can also visibly see, you've sent me videos where you're hitting from the full serve at the baseline, and you can hear and visibly see the improvement with the ball flight. You're getting a lot more effortless power on that serve because you're getting a much better right to left and racket drop position. Okay, so really great work here, Ben. I really commend you on the improvements you made. And yeah, if you have any further questions on this, please let us know.
So Ben made fantastic improvements on his serve, and you could really visibly see the difference in ball flight after he optimized his racket drop position. But now let's hear what Ben has to say after making these amazing improvements on his serve.
My name's Ben, and I've been working with online tennis instruction for the past year. So I started playing tennis when I was a young kid, and then I had about a 20-25 year break where I didn't play at all. Picked it up again 2 years ago. Back then my serve was very inefficient. I used to muscle the ball and used to break down under pressure. And I knew I wanted to get better and compete, and yeah, I needed to do something about it. So I first heard about OTI after listening to James on a podcast where he was talking about the serve mechanics. So then that led to me researching them and finding their YouTube videos, which I found incredibly helpful. The great thing about the OTI method was how they broke down complex biomechanic methods into simple, easy to digest movements with easy progressions. Yeah, so I'd send my serve to an instructor or through the OTI app, and then they would review it in slow motion. They would then find the biggest flaw in it and where I could make the biggest gain, where then we could focus on that and work on progression to that before moving on to the next stage. The great thing about progressions is that you could work on them at home, so I could do the shadow swings, the drills, and the different progressions prescribed to me in the comfort at home, which is brilliant. It meant I could work on my serve nearly every day at home as well as on the tennis court. So my serve now is, it's night and day compared to what it used to be, or even 12 months ago. It's now turned to a weapon, one where I get complimented on at tournaments like playing now, and one that feels efficient, easy on the body, and one that doesn't break down under pressure. I'm really excited. It's just the beginning of my journey working with OTI, and I'd 100% recommend them to anyone else. I've even got my wife involved, and she's now working with James too.
If you want to transform your serve just like Ben did, then you can go ahead and get your serve analyzed by an OTI instructor for just $10 right now. If you're interested in getting your own personalized video analysis, simply go beneath this video to find out more information.